is conspiracy theories, and I think we're gonna jump around. Um, but I think, Twoff, you did bring this up. YouTube is promoting conspiracy theory videos on YouTube. Can you explain that a little bit?
What I've heard is on their kids channel, which I did not know they really had, YouTube Kids. I guess it's something that censors sort of things that only kids can see. They were promoting a lot of conspiracy videos on that and like putting in recommended tabs, which
Like
makes this conversation kind of topical.
Was that a news article you saw that?
I heard about it in a tech channel I watch, and yes, it's been on news as well.
Do we know what videos they were suggesting or what conspiracies they were suggesting, or was it more like suggestions for like kids to like you
Like
know how
flat Earth
ads
theory, like
or no,
hollow
yeah,
Earth, or like JFK.
yeah, like, or was it more like, hey kids, buy this candy, and like what do they call that? Subliminal
It looks like
messaging?
one is aliens building the pyramids, lizard people, Freemasons with human sacrifice, and the JFK.
For example, if a kid would type in UFO in YouTube Kids, it would pop up a couple things doing with toys and stuff like that, but it would also bring up UFOs with chemtrails and stuff like that.
I mean, you gotta kind of think like the most popular UFO searches are probably UFO conspiracy. It's not really surprising. Kid typing.
Right, but the thing is, it's on YouTube Kids.
Yeah, that's
Should
really
they filter
weird.
out? Yes.
I don't know.
That's really odd. Does it say
YouTube
like
Kids is
the
probably
reason
exists.
behind that?
I don't know.
YouTube Kids is an app you can get, and you can download it into whatever platform, and it has things such as allowing kids to create their own profiles, blocking channels. You can watching history is one of their top things right here. Video reporting. Apparently, parents can set up timers for how long their children can watch, and set up search control limitations.
Okay, so it's an app that parents can use to monitor their kids' activity. Okay.
It lets them filter.
Yes, but I imagine a child could also download the app and have admin rights to it if their parent did not know.
Does it have a filter built in at the parent, like just a default setting, like filter?
I don't know because I've not downloaded the app, but
Well, there's a lot
on,
that
Nate.
slip through the cracks in that too. I think a lot of really raunchy videos or porn or something. Or
Did you hear about
porn's
the
on YouTube?
Spider-Man?
well,
stuff?
yeah, because the algorithm. I mean, it's not actual people looking at all the content uploaded. It's an algorithm or a program, and things slip through the cracks, and little kids get exposed to random donkey porn or something.
Right.
first of all, donkey porn is really hard to find.
Yeah, that was a bad example, but
Wait. It's hard to find. I guess I haven't
Alright.
searched in years for donkey porn.
So, Mr. P, one time I was at your house with your brother,
Oh, Jesus.
and somehow that came up, and we spent 30 minutes trying to find donkey porn, and we couldn't do it.
I'm surprised that Jamie couldn't find it. He's usually good
Dude,
at that
he
stuff.
is like the master of the internet. He usually can find anything. Oh my god.
But something that you said, I was thinking, you said it was like for history and stuff like that. And
Yes,
that
history
reminds
was
me,
one of the channels.
Like look at like History Channel and like all the stuff that they say. Like conspiracy theories is almost mainstream history nowadays. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure most of what History Channel is like Sasquatch real. What's that UFO show on History Channel? It's
Yeah,
like the big-
aliens.
Aliens. Yeah,
Aliens
see, like,
Inside
that's
Me or
mainstream
something, or-
history
yeah.
now. So like,
It's
it's
true.
not surprising at all that YouTube Kids is conspiracy
Yeah.
theories. That's just
History-
mainstream history.
And it's history entertainment. That stuff is mainstream.
It's like everything in our culture right now. It's all combined with entertainment. Pure anymore.
Yeah.
Science, entertainment,
I mean,
history, entertainment,
Just look
politics.
at it's so true. Like there's this article here that I'm reading. It pretty much has the correlation between education levels and your likelihood of believing a conspiracy. And if you're less educated, you're 30% more likely to believe in a conspiracy theory.
Oh, hang on.
I
But
would agree with that for sure.
correlation does not mean causation. There's a big difference. Just because things are correlated does not mean they're correlated specifically because of that reason. There could be any number of unknown factors that have not been accounted for.
For
Correlation-
instance, yeah,
For
like
the most part.
lower educated people usually have worse healthcare, and it maybe has something to do with healthcare. That's just a really bad example of.
Yeah.
I
So-
think I agree with what you said, though. The less educated, the more likely they're going to believe something or try to explain something that they don't understand.
Yeah, so here's a neat fact that the article says one survey showed that about 42% of people without a high school education believe in at least one conspiracy theory, compared to 23% of people with a postgraduate degree. So that's a pretty big gap. And also there's an income correlation, or not causation, or correlation, or whatever you want to say, Mr. Nate, but Mr.
Floppy.
Sorry. But household incomes who averaged 47,000 were more inclined to believe in conspiracies than people who made 63,000. So
I would say that is the causation correlation thing, because that probably means they're less educated, which probably just,
true.
probably how that works.
Do you guys want me to read off some that were actually proved to be true, though?
What source are you using?
I was reading this article.
Okay, what's the article?
That's one thing I wanted to discuss. We'll get to that though, maybe.
Okay. I mean, this one came from, let's see.
You can put the article in our chat, and we can each click it.
Sure. Hold on a second. Let me do that.
And this is the article about.
I found the flat Earth believability.
This is the
Flat Earth
It's been
is a
going
thing.
up, man.
this is the why so many people believe them, and then that it's from Time, so it's not like a bumfuck.
I mean, it's all right, but I don't know if time's peer review as far as.
I mean, it's a blanket. It's a
Right,
brief thing. But here's some conspiracy theories that actually turned out to be somewhat true. Actually, this one is called the Dead Baby Project. So the conspiracy was that the government was stealing dead bodies to do radioactive testing. The truth was the government was actually stealing dead body parts because they needed young tissue to recruit, because they needed to recruit a worldwide network of agents to find deceased babies and children and then take samples of the limbs.
Well, that's pretty. That sounds unbelievable, and it's surprising to me, at least, that actually happened.
Yeah, here
Is it documented that it happened? Did they have?
I'll actually link you this one as well. Hold on a second.
Did the government come out and be like, "Yeah, we were"?
So there are links connected to these, but these that are listed here. I'm just kind of reading these synopsises. But each of these has a link to some sort of proof, or supposedly. This one is the conspiracy. During Prohibition, the government poisoned alcohol to keep people from drinking it.
Oh.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, see, that sounds like something.
Yeah, manufacturers of industrial alcohol had been mixing their product with dangerous chemicals for years prior to Prohibition. But between 1926 and 1933, the federal government pushed manufacturers to use stronger poisons to discourage bootleggers from turning the alcohol into moonshine. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a whole big deal. Do you know the background on the whole?
I don't.
Prohibition?
Enlighten me.
So there was this guy. So he grew up, and I'm gonna misrepresent the story, but basically, growing up, he had a couple really bad run-ins with alcoholic men.
Mhm.
I think he actually had to kill one 'cause he was trying to rape his family, his mom and sisters, and so he grew up hating, despising alcohol. Eventually, he got into the government, and he was able to push along prohibition.
Ah, okay. So there's a
But
lot of
there's
bias.
a lot of background stories with it, and a lot of it was
Sure.
I think prohibition is also a good
Yeah.
indication of why the war on drugs.
Does not work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's been proven again and again that education is a bigger deterrent than things like abstinence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Even
Right.
though we're still fighting this crazy, stupid war on marijuana in this country, but
Not here.
not in Colorado. But
Yeah.
that's so
It's
You gotta figure it out.
definitely still a thing. In
By the way, our schools are pretty awesome.
It's true. It's true. So this one is interesting. I think this one's more well known. The conspiracy then was the CIA was testing LSD and other hallucinogenic drugs on Americans in a top secret experiment on behavior modification. This was confirmed to be true. The
There's
program,
released videos now
yeah,
of it.
yep. The program was known as MK Ultra. They started out using volunteers. But the program had soon began dosing people without their knowledge and left many victims permanently and mentally disabled. Oh, geez.
So, like, what type of stuff were they dosing him with, and how were they like not knowledgeable of this?
That's interesting because in 1973, I believe, the head of the CIA, he had most of the files on the project destroyed. So we don't know all of the details, but we know the program existed. So yeah, I actually saw a video. This guy, it was, I'm not sure how he got his hands on it, but it was a video in the 50s, and they had given these
A cat?
No, it was soldiers. So they had set up this like fake like mission that they were to go and like bunker, and they were told that the enemy was going to attack it at any moment, and they had to be on alert. But out on the mission, they all drank water, and half of them had water with like hallucinogens in it, and half of them didn't. And they wanted to see how that affected their like morale and how like they worked as like a unit and stuff. And obviously, it's half of them were like taking their clothes off and yelling and like climbing the trees and like being stupid, and the other ones were just like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah,
So-
I just looked at it.
There's a
Dude,
popular
look at this
video that's been circling the web for a long time, cat on LSD, and I believe this is from government video. I'm not too sure about that, but it looks
terrifying.
it's pretty, yeah.
Oh,
A lot of
the
people have
cat?
seen that video. Yeah.
Do you have a link?
It's in the,
Oh,
in the
shit,
thing.
here.
And also, let's switch to using the podcast chat.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
You're fine.
So also on a side note, we had just talked about how the History Channel is all about entertainment and stuff like that, and the story that Mr. P was talking about is coming from the History Channel.
Is it really?
That's great.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So yeah, that just
Never
proves
know, man.
like you never know what you're
Fake
gonna
news.
what you
Fake news.
what's out there and what you believe. So
I mean, on a positive note, it's got a author and a date of publication.
Well,
So
that's unique.
yeah.
And the History Channel is going to take things that are interesting that happened as well, but
Yeah,
they
they're
often
not-
blow things out of proportion.
I think that's a misrepresentation. Like I think most of their reality shows are about conspiracies and like stupid shit like
Ancient Aliens is literally on the History Channel.
right, but that's like well yeah, I guess I don't know.
I would say 90%.
Yeah, I miss when it used to be the Nazi channel, when it's just all like
I'll tell you-
World War
World
II
War
II.
documentaries.
Is this
Right.
the History Channel or just Comedy Central that has drunk it?
I think that's Comedy
'Cause that's
Central.
surprisingly good.
That's pretty good though, yeah.
Comedy or History Channel missed.
Yeah.
So, as far as like the topic of this goes, or like why people believe stuff, I think one of the best conspiracies to illustrate that is this flat Earth. Because
That is the perfect reaction to flat Earth. laughing.
It baffles me.
Like, because I can't understand it, and I can't find like the logic in it. So like, why are so many people?
That one specifically, let me find that article I was looking at.
Is it just like a trend thing? Is it like one of those like
It's trendy because
crazy trendy things that like people will do really stupid stuff just to be trendy?
Yeah,
I feel like
because look, that shows when those famous actors and NBA players said, "Oh yeah, I believe in the flat Earth thing."
yeah,
Yeah.
that's 100% it. Like,
Oh, wow.
like famous people were saying like, I don't know, I've seen a lot of stuff. It's probably true, and then everyone's like jumping.
I don't understand that graph.
I don't understand the graph either, but it made me.
I can understand its point. It's trying to get across, but
Is
like,
NSA covering up the truth?
it doesn't
let's
like
see.
label it.
oh, blue is chemtrails,
Yeah, but
red
it
is
isn't labeled on the
flat.
side. Like what year? It was like 100% of people believe that now, or like what is the 100?
No,
100 people believe it.
that's Google Trends. That's Google
I don't know.
Trends. Yeah, so
Uh,
I guess I don't even know what that means, but yeah, it looks like
I mean, the chart was made in
It's apparently it's search volume.
yeah, it's search volume.
for
100 could be like 100%. It doubled.
Yep.
oh, okay. So it's just a
So yeah,
arbitrary number.
the search volume doubled when they said those things.
Gotcha.
yeah.
But still, just famous people are ruining the minds of people.
But like
I think
that one,
It's
I don't know the
100%
reason.
for entertainment purposes.
it has to be.
People believe it.
You have to, like, some people
that makes it
really-
more funny.
And by believing that one, that takes you down this super deep rabbit hole of having to disbelieve so many things. Like you have to completely not believe in NASA. You can't believe in GPS. You can't believe in your cell phone.
Yeah,
You
that's a
believe in
blatant
television.
disregard to the facts.
You can't believe in any of our astronauts.
All
I mean,
right,
The thing
any
is,
of the other countries' astronauts.
First
not,
of
not
all,
only is U.S.
you're-
lying, but every
You're
other country.
Let
you're
him finish.
assuming logical deductions
yeah,
there.
they don't take any of that into account.
No,
they
they
don't
don't.
think of that.
I'm just saying, of all like by believing that one conspiracy theory, you have to like disregard everything else, and it almost is like your whole mindset.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
because it can be an irrational belief.
Yeah, but you're blatantly disregarding facts.
So you're
It's
saying there's
called-
people out there that
it's called-
believe that we have satellites and astronauts and GPS, but believe the Earth's flat? They believe
Yes.
both?
I'm sure they will come up with
It's an
something
irrational
that
belief,
supports
Like we
their
said.
argument.
The more often, the less educated, the more likely they are. So they probably don't even take these things into account. Like they don't ponder about how their GPS
I
works.
think they
just
do
use
take it into account because like they have all these rebuttals.
So now we're
Like every time
speculating on
you get
how
into a
other
discussion about
people
it,
decide things.
like every time you get into a discussion with them, they have like rebuttals. Like they've obviously thought about these, like the whole like if the Earth was round, then how come if I use binoculars, I could still see a ship even though it's supposedly gone over the horizon? Or like they have all these like some of them have even tried using math
Yeah.
examples because they've heard the arguments against
Yeah.
rebuttals that kick them down that hole.
They're able to block out all the other things of belief it would mess with by saying that it's a government conspiracy and the government handles GPS and stuff. So they're able to
That's probably what
logic
they
it away in that way.
I think it's comes down to people can't change their minds. I saw a psychological report that was peer reviewed that said, and it was proven that arguments are absolutely pointless because if someone has made up their mind, they can't you can't change their mind. It wasn't like irrefutable, but like it was like almost 100%. Like people just like won't change their mind, regardless of how well you present your facts or your argument.
It's especially with the big stuff like
Yeah, the
God
big stuff
and-
that are complicated.
and politics and yeah.
The
Even
smaller it
even the
is.
little stuff, like if someone said, "Did you do the dishes?" and you said no, but like there's only two of you, and you're like, "Well, I definitely didn't have dishes there." Like they would still like argue it. And already made their stance.
It's called a confirmation bias or conformity bias, where people have the tendency to believe things that they want to believe that fit in with their schemata, and they ignore things that they don't want or that do not fit in their schemata. It is
Yeah.
a psychological phenomenon.
I was reading about that, like how intelligent people can even believe conspiracies because when they research it, they have that confirmation bias and see the things that defend their argument, and they say, "Yeah, I agree with that. That proves my point." So
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 And media right now is making confirmation bias so much worse because the algorithms on everything you like search, like let's say you're a Democrat, the computer and like Google in particular will learn that you're a Democrat, and it will only show you Democratic articles that like feed your bias,
Yeah,
and so you
exactly.
become more and more biased.
Yeah, it's
And, like,
pretty frustrating.
And
I've
like
noticed
everyone,
that.
like if you have any type of argument, you have all these articles that you've read defend your side, but none from the other perspective.
Yeah, and that gets into another crazy thing about this confirmed conspiracy. Do you guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
The Illuminati and the U.S. government. The conspiracy was a secret society that rules the world. The Illuminati and the U.S. National Security Agency are in cahoots. The truth is, we're here to tell you that a link does, in fact, exist. Of course, this link is actually a hyperlink. If you type Illuminati backward into a web browser, you will land on the NSA website.
You will what? You cut out there.
Well,
If you type Illuminati backwards, you will land on the NSA website.
That's Google having fun.
well, here's this.
What that
I
is.
think this though too. I think anybody will believe anything. So any of these conspiracy theories, I bet, could be true.
Hold on a second, though.
Did you know if you
Hold on.
Googled Zerg Rush? Yeah, it's just a little stupid trick, like
If you
Hold on.
Google what?
Zerg Rush.
I'm not
Oh.
Googling it.
Hold on a second. No. This is Illuminati.com spelled backwards. Why don't you guys type that into your browser and tell me this isn't true?
Yeah, I
Private
have a
browser.
top secret clearance. I can't be typing.
Fine.
Well, I might have. I don't know what Nate did.
Did you type it in, Nate?
we had a great conversation. She wanted to know things such as your middle name and your association with foreign governments. And I said, I don't know his middle name, and he only goes to Russia every other year.
So did you do the interview too, Nate?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Dude, like the first woman that I interviewed with was for Ryan, right? And she was super like laid back and like really chatty and like kind of chill. The next guy that interviewed me for Danny's thing was like the most intimidating, like proper like individual. Like he was serious about his job, and I was like, whoa, dude, like I don't think he's a criminal. But oh god, it was funny. Let's see if there's any cooler conspiracies here that were proven true. I think this one's pretty.
All right, so wait, what
well-known.
conspiracies? First of all, let's talk about something. What conspiracies do you guys believe in?
Ooh, this is gonna be good. I've got one. I'm gonna go.
I
last.
know Jared is really into these.
All right.
I've
Well,
got a go.
does anyone have one that they think that could be
Yeah.
real?
Yeah, I believe they see everything we do on our devices.
And I'm pretty sure that's proven.
Well,
have you
either
seen,
way, I believe it.
Oh yeah, you should. Because do you know who Edward Snowden is?
I've heard the name, but I don't remember why.
You should watch that documentary.
You should, or watch the movie. Like it's not like it.
He's a whistleblower that revealed a bunch of stuff. that they
Edward
do.
Snowden.
Edward
Yeah,
Snowden. Yeah.
There's at least 2 documentaries or 2 movies out about him, and
Yeah.
it's like extremely well documented.
That is the
They
most
are.
prevalent example of a conspiracy that's been proven true.
Yes.
The fact that they have that capability and that they do that.
Yes.
Yeah, but they don't listen to everything
Yeah,
everybody says.
it's again, it's an algorithm and it's keywords.
And it's
stuff like that.
mostly metadata, but
But-
it's searchable and they can.
It's
Everything is-
they can get anything they
They're-
want
they're-
if they wanted to.
They're recording everything and like
Yeah.
sorting.
Edward Snowden revealed that they have like at data hubs where like all the signals go through, they've like hooked in right before or right after it in order to have access to all like Verizon or AT&T's like metadata. So
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The NSA has millions of people's information. Like it's been proven true. And they haven't denied it. They just skate around the issue and they chase after.
well, they can't talk about it.
Yeah, it's true.
Do any of you guys believe in Sasquatch? Or like any mythical beast, Sasquatch, Mothman, Loch Ness monster.
I
Yeah,
believe the giant squid is. I mean, they found giant squids.
Yeah, I
though,
think
so.
I do
that's
to
not.
an extent. I think at the time, whenever they first saw beasts or beings that were huge, and they'd never seen anything or had they didn't see skyscrapers, they didn't see anything more than 10 feet tall or big trees. But when they discovered the redwood forest or something for the first time, they thought it was just some freak act of God.
And like the giant squid thing is an example of a conspiracy creature that's been proven right.
It
'Cause
depends on
that-
how
they used
giant
to
you
not
want to
find-
get, though. Yeah.
They get pretty big.
Dude, they
Yeah,
get
they're
enormous.
freaking huge.
Hundreds.
Like mythical
Well, I mean,
size.
I don't know. They're not cracking. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
it's not
big.
like
They
it's
found
not
like
yes,
suckers on
exactly.
whales are
It's-
still bigger.
Yeah, it's not the
They're pretty damn
Kraken
big,
like
though.
in the movies, but they're big. I mean, they're what 20, 30 feet?
Bigger than a great white shark for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're still smaller than whales.
Largest giant squid ever recorded was almost 43 feet.
Oh, baloney. It
But
is bigger
that's
than
from head to the end of the tentacle. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And
Yeah.
that's from ocean.si.education.
There's
Yeah,
a good
they're
reliable source.
big, and I believe that, but they're really lame.
Right.
Here's my thing on mythical or conspiracy creatures. Our world is so connected now, and there's so many people on this planet that for the fact that we still have no solid proof of the abominable snowman or Sasquatch or any of these land creatures means it doesn't exist. Like, we've scoured the surface of this planet minus the oceans, like up
I'm
and
gonna have to
down,
disagree with you on
up and down.
Jay.
Well, like there's
Dude,
seven,
we just discovered a new tribe of people like last year.
but
Did we?
Yeah.
where?
Like you guys don't realize it sometimes because I feel like because the world's so interconnected, the world feels like it's small, but the world is absolutely enormous. Like there's jungles that are like 5% mapped. Like we just found a whole civilization using LiDAR earlier this year that we didn't know about.
Like primitive peoples?
Yeah, like primitive.
Yeah. So you're
Like
saying
that, and
that
the fact that I think that
okay.
just that idea is prevalent because it feels like the world's small and feels like everyone's around, but there's still really unexplored areas.
Dude, as imaging technology increases, like we could discover all kinds of shit.
Yeah, just like with LiDAR. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with it, but basically it's like radar. Like a plane can fly over an area and get rid of everything in between it and the ground and create an accurate ground. So like areas like in a jungle that are like you can't see from an airplane, so you can't map it.
Mm-hmm.
You can scan the ground and it can reveal what the ground is as far as like structures and stuff that were previously obscured by the foliage. You can now see with overheads.
That's cool. So what have they found? You said
One
just
it's showing
found that
they
tribe.
found a
Here's
the
a
most recent one. Yeah, go ahead.
here's a headline from the Smithsonian .com. Laser scans reveal 60,000 hidden Maya structures in Guatemala.
So Guatemala is not a big place.
How
And
many?
60,000 structures.
I mean, they could be
That they had
small. It's
never
like a
found
city.
before?
Yeah, they didn't know about. Like
Wow.
the thing that LiDAR is really revealing right now is just how widespread and advanced these civilizations were that we often downplay.
Here, I'll put it in the chat.
Especially for the time, there wasn't nearly as many people on the earth.
Well, like
Well,
people
here's the
don't
Earth.
understand like what happened to the Americas whenever the
It's
Spanish came in.
round.
The Spanish and all the disease they brought over wiped out 99% of people.
Yeah, disease wiped out most of those people.
Imagine all the issues we had with the Indians whenever we were trying to settle here. Now that was 1% of their previous population.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, dang! Look at all that's stuff we didn't know
That's LiDAR.
existed. That's cool.
So yeah, there's definitely possibilities of things being hidden up.
So, all right. So, I don't know. I still don't believe in Sasquatch.
I don't either.
I don't.
No, that's.
I mean, I still don't believe in
But
stuff.
that's-
I'm
but-
just
but
saying
that is
that's not a
compelling.
good argument.
That is compelling. That means it's not impossible. Well, Nate, do you believe in any conspiracies? Not conspiracy. Well, yeah, conspiracies. Yeah. Is there any ones that you tend to believe?
Nate,
Nate, you there, buddy?
Well, Nate's gone.
Did we lose Nate? Okay.
We did mythological creatures. Might as well jump on over to aliens. Who believes aliens have visited?
Have visited?
Yeah, like Area 51.
I believe they have not visited, but I believe we found evidence in our space travels that might suggest it. That
dude, I bet there's aliens.
Well, I'm not saying whether or not there's aliens, because that's a different debate.
Is
Whether or
there
not
a
that we've
government cover-up?
somehow
Is there a
interacted
cover-up?
with aliens, or the aliens have been in the vicinity of the Earth, or that someone has met an alien? Any of those?
see to
Like
me,
abductions.
to me, like aliens could be anything. Like they could be nothing like us, and we may not even be able to see them. But is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. But
I think that.
I don't know. I just don't know that much about it. I tend to believe no.
Yeah, I think that if
have-
they're competent enough to master interstellar travel, that they're competent enough to not like crash in a field or something.
And why would they want to stick? Like they travel light years away, and then they want to like stick things up our butts. So like, what are they trying to find out with that? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. I think that's just something.
Maybe
that
that's where their brains are, is in their ass.
That's the only thing that can
That's
make
it.
sense.
Oh my god.
That's how they shake hands in their culture. They shove
You
their arms up
debunked it, man.
each other's assholes. We got it figured out now. Well, how do you do? Right up there.
Kind of like the South Park episode where they shove the food up their ass and shit out their mouth. You never
Yeah,
know.
That one was so dumb.
The whole show is dumb, but it's great.
I do love the parody.
Love
It's
it.
gotten better. It's
All right, so there's
all right. So what was it?
Nate,
Aliens?
what conspiracies do you believe now that you're back from wherever you went?
I'd take a piss. My bad.
We don't care. But... I'm just kidding.
I don't know if I believe any conspiracies.
I've been trying to think of anything I might.
Yeah, anything that is at least known as a conspiracy theory out.
I
don't-
all right. If no one's got one,
Ooh, I got one. I believe.
okay. All right, go ahead.
I believe that rich people, like super rich, and like celebrities as well,
hmm
that they have like separate like, cures and health cares and stuff like that. Because some of those people just like they're like 70 years old. They look like they're 25, and like I don't know. I think that there's some. Sometimes I think that yeah, super rich people they have like weird cures for cancer, like cancer specifically. I think there's a conspiracy about that. I believe. I think that they could have cured that a long time ago. Like the chemo
You
and all the
think
other medicine is just a racket trying to make money.
you think the drug companies are hiding the cure so they can keep
Yeah, I think
selling
drug companies
drugs?
are hiding a lot.
For
That's
certain
my conspiracy.
diseases, yeah, I think so.
That's my conspiracy. I think the drug.
You guys should watch on Netflix if you get some
Evil.
time. It's a short series. I'm not sure how many episodes that they're gonna do, but the first season has 6. It's called Dirty Money.
Is it about that Shapiro guy?
No,
Oh, he's a good
Shapiro.
one. I like listening to Ben Shapiro.
No.
Oh no, not who's the med guy that like is in jail right now because he was like peddling, like screwing everybody over. He got he got really rich and then he sold a lot of like cheap medicine for really expensive. Then he got. now he's in jail.
I don't know if he's in jail, but what's the name of the company? The company that was the big scandal was fuck, I just watched it like 2 weeks ago.
Are you talking about the EpiPen stuff?
No, I
No?
mean they've been raising the price of drugs of that shit for a while now. What was the name of the company?
Guys, you don't make any money off a cure.
You don't?
You make
Well,
money off treatments.
So do you believe in that too, Nick?
I think that no, I don't think that that's specifically for like celebrities and rich people. I think that yes, we probably could have been way closer, if not cured something like cancer by now. Sure, maybe, but again, I don't think many people are trying to because there's no money involved.
I believe it, Danny.
I think if any of the conspiracy theories are true, it has to do with money.
Yeah, if it's profit motive, then a lot of shit can be probably kept secret. Otherwise, incompetence and just like general.
Well, think about it
People
too.
wanting
The
to-
people that know about the cure, or the first person that got the cure, wants to make the most money off of it possible. Of course, he's going to talk to Hollywood. Their access to that is so much more profound than our little Southern Illinois background.
Yeah, this is a theme that's been like repeated over and over. Anytime that there's a really good product out that people think that it's gonna be free and fantastic, but if it doesn't make a profit, those people are either like paid off, shot, silenced somehow, and it's usually not like Tesla versus the Edison, marijuana. What else is another one? Marijuana, free internet and cable thing that's going on right now.
Oh,
Yeah, internet should 100% be free at this point. We have the technology to do it.
Do you
You know what I'm
believe
surprised is free?
What?
GPS.
Oh wow.
it's free?
It should be.
What do you mean it's free? GPS is 100% free.
Yeah, it's free.
But
Well,
no,
gotta pay for data plans.
you need
GPS
internet
itself.
to get GPS. So
Your device.
Well, that's like
you
saying
pay
that's
for
like
your
saying
device. And
You have to
pay
buy
for
it.
it's
the
like saying if
internet.
gas was free, you would be arguing, well, you have to buy a car to use the gas.
Right.
Yeah.
No, GPS is free. The unit's
GPS
not.
itself is free. Yes.
Right. The
We
GPS
put up
providers are making money.
billions of dollars worth of satellites in the sky, and we could charge everyone, even like $1 to use those services, but we don't.
Right, because the system right now, everyone profits. The internet companies, the phone companies, the computer companies.
It all
know.
has to do with money.
Yeah, it's all have to do with money. Like they like the system where it is, and it's gonna be hard to change it. I don't know. We'll see. My thing is, internet is a utility, and we still pay for utilities, in my opinion. So
Watch this video. LG's gonna prove.
I'm fine with paying for internet or good service if it's consistently good. And
Have you guys looked much in? I don't really care about weed as far as like smoking marijuana, but like the hemp, the product, the plant.
yeah.
I think that it was amazing, and like the big steel, like the whole conspiracy of like hemp versus steel, and how like steel like paid them like they gave it a Mexican sounding name like marijuana that sounds scarier than hemp.
Yeah, and the last 10 seconds of this video, it shows Henry Ford has a car he made out of hemp, like the surface of it, like the covering,
Yeah.
and he's hitting it with a sledgehammer, and it's not even denting at all.
it's
It
one
was
of the
a-
most versatile plants
Yeah.
ever.
It was our primary export for the longest.
Amongst the
Yeah.
thousands of
Hemp is
products
amazing.
made from hemp, one of the
It's
most extraordinary
crazy
is
what
Henry
like
Ford's
money will do. Like
plastic
this is all
car.
because of the steel
Built
industry.
in 1941, it contained cellulose fibers
Yep.
derived from hemp. So
that's another one I believe.
Wheat straw.
Yeah,
Huh.
Plastic
It's weird
was
because like
mined
because I
so
believe it, it doesn't
could
seem
withstand
outlandish.
times.
right. Well, it's
Right.
kind of like almost common knowledge. It's,
See, that's what other people think whenever they believe in Sasquatch. What? I mean, it just makes sense.
Huh.
Wait, you don't believe in Sasquatch? What's wrong with you?
There's obviously tons
Yeah.
of evidence. I've looked on the internet.
Yeah. Look, I just saw a video of Henry Ford pounding a thing. Like that's
yeah,
definitely.
Next
I
thing
saw
you know,
the
he's
evidence right
smoking a
there.
reefer.
Yeah. How do you know that video is real? But we believe it because it fits into our.
Yeah,
what was that word, Nate?
confirmation
Schema.
bias.
Schemata.
Schema.
Right. Yeah.
Schema.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's an
Schema's
example.
the singular, schemata's the plural.
Yep. There's
So Danny believes in the conspiracy of hemp cars, and the drug companies are hiding the cures for cancer. Twoff, do you have anything?
I mean, I think marijuana being illegal was
I mean, we could debate
kind of
that.
I'm sure like things like where lobbyists will pay to get something out for different reasons, like what
But
he
that-
mentioned, the steel companies, like
Yeah.
getting rid of the marijuana as competition, like hemp. I
Yeah.
believe that stuff probably happened, and
Yeah.
I can't think of many things, but there's probably some that might be considered conspiracy there, I believe. Usually they probably involve lobbyists. to be honest.
The most evil person. The lowest of the low.
But like, what was that term Nate said when people just blatantly disregard the truth?
Like confirmation bias.
Confirmation
Yeah, I
bias,
need to watch out for
I
that.
mean, it's going to be different for whoever you talk to. So if they don't believe that the facts are true,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. I don't know.
Like any evidence you throw at them will just be, oh, that's fabricated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So their idea of a conspiracy is what we would laugh at, but what we find plausible, they might laugh at.
Exactly. It's really interesting. It all depends on your history and your experience. And like, if you guys ever read Nietzsche, like he talks a little bit about that type of stuff because he said he will never read another book by anyone else besides something he's written himself because he
Who
doesn't
was
want
it you said?
Nietzsche.
Niche.
Yeah, Nietzsche. He's a philosopher from Germany.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And because he doesn't want anyone else's ideas into his own head. Because like if you read other people's words, their words become your thoughts because you're forming synapses and like you're making a brain map of what they say. So whether you like it or not, they are influencing you. They're causing bias just from the fact that you're reading. And so he said, don't ever read anything, don't ever watch anything. Think your
Alright,
thoughts.
But how would you
On a
learn,
side
though?
note, one of the few things, like the only thing I think proven to raise intelligence is reading, and that
Yeah, and
is causation versus correlation. If you just read more, you get smarter.
I would say read both sides of an argument if you're reading something in that vein. Like find two different books arguing two opposite points, maybe. Might help towards it, but then
I like to
again,
say,
your
yeah.
confirmation
I mean,
bias
we
is going to
just-
come into play there.
I like to say that's why I'm a scientist because like it's black and white, you know.
Yeah.
But then again, it's not because we have feuds all the time.
So you guys want to hear? I have two. One's not, one may not be.
Just been waiting to say these.
One may not be a conspiracy. One definitely is.
Jared, you have way more than two. You're the biggest.
No. These are two that I've seriously researched. All like.
You don't say lizard people.
I
Sorry.
know, I don't believe lizard people. No, so my first one is that there was an advanced civilization
One of my favorite.
way earlier than we thought, than the original accepted version of when civilization was made. So I think right now the common belief is that civilization popped up in Mesopotamia. I want to say they're saying like 5,000 BC, 6,000 BC.
Sounds about right.
Nah, way earlier than that.
Well,
30,000.
so that's
No,
that
oh,
is
that's-
that is my theory, or not my theory, but it's something that I think is true. So, the end of the last ice age melted all of the ice and raised the water levels, and so it kind of washed away all of these advanced at the time.
Civilization does tend to settle on the coast areas.
Exactly.
So all the
Exactly.
civilizations from that time would have been
On the water.
felled.
But at the end of the ice age, all that ice melted and the ocean levels rose, I think 300 feet or so, and then that like covered up huge land masses.
I'm not sure
that-
if it was 300 feet, but significant.
Yeah, it
A
was
couple feet would drown most cities on our coast. So
it was quite a lot. It was high, and so there have
Well,
been
think about it this
evidence
way: like
now
Illinois
that-
is like the middle of the country, and it's at like 500, 400, 500.
120 meters is what they estimate, according to.
So that's about 360 feet.
wow.
Yeah, so
Whoa.
entire like there was a land bridge, I think, between Australia and Asia, and now it's just islands. Like it's mostly just ocean now.
Yeah.
The land bridge between Russia and Alaska, that was land. That wasn't ice. That was land, and it was covered up by the
Yeah.
ocean.
And we recently found a whole other continent under the water by Australia.
Yep.
So like that would have all been land.
Yep. Same thing between England and I think Denmark. That's I think they call it the North Sea. That was all land. And
Yeah.
the English Channel was all land. So like there was a lot of land that was swept away, and we're finding more and more evidence that there was an advanced civilization at the time.
Yeah, just think about like putting something, something from like Greece, like 1,000, 2,000 years ago, and like we find it today. Think about what it looks like, how degraded it is. And I think about it being down there for 10,000 or 20,000, 30,000 years. Like it would be unrecognizable.
Yep. Yes.
So like it could have been completely wiped out.
Zealandia.
That's the other country.
New Zealand just like
Yep.
had a lot more land mass at one point, I think.
Yep.
I love the name.
So what type of evidence have they found, Jared?
So
I have a little bit.
The one that is most recent that's really telling is here. Let me type it in so I get the spelling right. Just a second. Okay, so this is a site that was found in Turkey, I believe. I'm gonna post the Wikipedia link just because it's got everything there. But this is a site that was found in Turkey. It's called Göbekli Tepe. So this was carbon dated, I believe, to be 12,000 or the 10th millennium BCE, which is about 12,000 years ago, and that would have been towards the end of the last ice age. And the thing that they built here was previously thought not possible at that time frame, that humans were just hunter-gatherers and they weren't capable of making a structure like this. But this was obviously made by an advanced peoples, whether they were hunter-gatherers or was an actual civilization is up for debate. But I tend to believe that there was well-established civilizations at that time, and they were all like washed up or extinct because of the climate change or whatever it was. But this is one of the main things that they point to kind of prove this theory, because it is still a theory. Mainstream science doesn't really get behind that idea yet because they don't think there's enough proof yet that we have that we've found to support this. But there's been more and more popping up, and it makes sense. It makes complete sense that humanity kind of started over, which kind of also leads into the conspiracy theories about the worldwide flood too. Every major cultural civilization believes in some mass extinction flood, whether it's Christian or Asian or whatever. Almost every culture in their history has a flood that they're like that wiped out all of humanity. So
yeah, well, that's just like tribal knowledge, because a lot of times they didn't have written language, so their histories were, their myths that they created were how they spread information from one to another. Like those ones that like had all these, the demon, whenever the tide is out really far, run into the land as far as you can because the demon's about to come out of the ocean. That's just like warnings against tsunami. Because you can't just say, hey, when a tide comes out, there's going to be a tsunami. You have to have some story to go with it.
Right.
Humans are storytellers. And like floods are really common. So they have all these stories about the floods.
Yeah. And so I believe there was major civilizations 12,000 years ago that we have yet to know anything or learn anything from, but they existed, and we could learn a lot more about the advancement of the human race.
Are you thinking like Egyptian level advanced?
These were probably ancient Egyptian level advanced peoples, maybe slightly ahead of that. And that a lot of their cities and structures were destroyed. There's also a conspiracy about the pyramids. I think I posted that on one of our group chats a few months back, maybe a year ago. That some say that the beginning of the pyramids were constructed 10,000 years ago at the base, and that the Sphinx is a lot older than originally believed, and all this and that. So I don't know. There's a lot here that I've researched, and I don't think we have time tonight to go into that. That could be a separate thing. later on in the coming weeks, but
Right. That could be a different topic that we maybe do some research in.
Yeah,
beforehand.
ancient civs.
Is there,
ancient civs, yes.
Is there anything more guided you want to discuss tonight, Jared?
No, I was
Coming
just,
up on an hour.
I was just gonna say my other one is I have a JFK conspiracy that I believe as well. But that was.
I'm down to keep going. I'll go longer. I don't give a shit.
Okay, that's cool.
Do any of you guys know about the SIPRnet?
The
So
what?
what?
Never mind.
Where did you speak?
Oh, do you
Out of
know
turn.
about SIPRnet?
No.
Cybernet, no. Can't say that I have.
Just if like is aware of it.
Can you not talk about it?
Yeah, I can tell you what it is. So there's two types of internet. There's a NIPRNet, which is non-secure internet protocol router,
Mhm.
and within that there's like Tor, which
Okay.
you all know about Tor, right? The onion router that takes you like it's a router that takes you into like the dark web and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I suppose just gives you access to other stuff through an anonymous means. SIPRNet is the secured internet protocol router, and it's just what the military uses for all of its classified, secret, and top secret above.
Well, didn't the military
Mission.
invent the internet for communication?
Yeah, it's all over.
Yep. I'm sure that's another topic we could get into in
Not with
future weeks. But not with Danny apparently. All right. All right. Cool. All right. Successful week, fellas.
Good talk.
Yep.
Yeah, nice talking to you.
Loved
I'm
it.
excited
Conspiracy
just
theories.
because I could talk to a couple people I don't regularly talk to, like John.
Yeah.
John.
For sure. All
Speaking
right.
of which, John, well, those of you everyone but Nate, you can go.